Hello, everyone. We're Team 4. Our team members are me, John, Mitchell, Anthony, Travis, and Mary in the computer science program, as well as Jacob, who's in computer engineering. We're all seniors, and our project is called Word of Mouth. My role on the team was as a full stack developer. Primarily, I worked on the NLP research, the AWS hosting for our website, and the reviews pipeline.
And my name is Mitchell Malteza. I was also on full stack. I helped wherever I was needed, but I was mainly focusing on the login session, some registration, and some HTML and CSS in relation to those.
My name's Anthony Marin. I worked on the front end, and I mostly did the translation of wireframes to code using HTML and CSS.
My name is Travis Quick. I was working on the back end. I created the database and did some data back pipelines, and also did some HTML, CSS, and encryption implementation.
Hi, my name is Jacob Salas. I mainly worked on the backend under the NLP analysis, worked with the Twitter API for web scraping, data science, and I was the editor.
Hi, my name is Mary Valencia, and for this project, I did mostly front end. I worked on all the diagrams for this project and created the wireframes. I also worked on creating templates in HTML of the wireframes and used CSS to style most of the pages within the project. I'm going to go over the requirements of our project, which will include our SRS, wireframes, and the use case diagram. So this is our wiki page on GitHub. So in our SRS, we have an introduction, project description, project requirements, some diagrams, and some references. So Word of Mouth is a website where people can search for labor help by browsing different labor profiles and examine the work reviews. The reviews are interpreted by a machine learning model to define if it's positive or negative. The next thing I'll go over is some UI requirements. So our first UI requirement is our landing page, which is our initial home page. We'll also have a worker login or register, a user profile editing, a results page, and a navigation bar, which is on all the pages. Some functional requirements is the search/filter, which is the user will be able to search and filter different profiles. We have the database, which is where everything is stored. We have writing reviews and the NLP analysis of reviews, which is the machine learning model that defines if the reviews are good or bad. We have the account registration and then the profile edit. Some non-functional requirements is security. So we'll just use the emails to authenticate each user. And the next one is just ease of use. So it just needs to make sure that the search results come quick enough for the users. Next thing I'll go over is some diagrams. So first is the wireframes. So our wireframes are on our wiki page, but I'm going to show them more zoomed out. So this is our landing page. The only difference we did on our website is that we didn't include these two boxes, which were going to be ads or images. We thought it looked better without them. Then we have a login pop-up. It was going to be a login page initially, but a pop-up was cooler because the pop-up could pop up on all the pages. We have a search page. So if you input a search, it will take you to the results page. We have an edit profile page, which is for the worker. We have an create account. And then we have a results page, which is the users input something and then they could see different profiles pop up. We have also the profile page, but for the profile page, when the users look at it, they cannot edit, only the worker can. We have a review page, which the worker and user could both view, but only the users could write a review. The workers will not be able to leave a review on themselves. So if they press that button, it takes them to the write a review page. And the next diagram I'm going to go over is the use case diagram. So in our case, we have two different users. We have the worker and the user who's looking for labor. So for the worker, they can log in. And if they do not have a login information, they need to register, but they do not need to register every time they log in. And then they could also view their profile, which allows them to edit their profile and view their own reviews. The next, for the users looking for labor, they could view the worker's profile. They could search, which makes the view results pop up, and then they could add reviews, which could allow them to see previous reviews from previous users.
All right, so next I'm going to go over how we planned our project and manage our tasks throughout the semester. So primarily we used our GitHub projects board to manage the things that we need to get done on a week-by-week basis. So as you can see here, we used a Kanban-based structure for our project with 4 different columns. The to-do column here was essentially our product backlog. It was where we place all the things from our requirements that were established in the SRS, as well as any tasks that we decided need to get done throughout the semester, like assignments and lab things. The in progress column has all the tasks that we were currently working on. The done column contains all the tasks that we completed up to now, as well as who was assigned to each task and what they specifically did. The last column here is the weekly updates column. So every week I would make a small note about the general tasks and assignments that we need to focus on that week, and also notify the team of any important deadlines or due dates. This was just to make sure that everyone was on the same page, basically. So for the design of our project, we used multiple UML diagrams to lay out the general structure and relationships between different objects and users of our project. So first we went through the noun extraction process to create class diagrams. So you can see the one here, we have 3 different user classes, and then they're generalized into one just user superclass. This user class can perform a search, which will return one or many profiles. They can also view different profiles. These profiles themselves are linked to a worker, so it's a one-to-one. And if the worker account is deleted, then the profile data, as well as anything connected to it, will be deleted. So a profile consists of 0 or more reviews, a description, and 0 or more projects. So for the sequence diagram, we have an example here where we have a user who's going to input their username and password into an account UI using a form. This account UI will verify this information with the database. The database, depending on the result, if it's a login that is valid, it will return that the login is valid and log in the user to the account. From there, the user might want to view their profile, in which case they'll call the profile object to view their profile, and this will return back the profile information. If it was an invalid login, then it will redirect the user back to a register page. From there, the user might register by putting account information into the account UI. This information will be sent to the database, which will create a user. And from there, the database will return back to log in the user. So in terms of design issues that we faced, the most complicated problem was deciding how to connect the different pages together, as well as how to handle the current status of a user in terms of what should be displayed. So what should be displayed for a worker will be different from what a user will see. So to solve this issue, we went through our wireframes and we established different things that we should do for each of the buttons or connections between pages. And so we could understand through the wireframes exactly how these pages were linked and structured.
Moving on to the implementation of our project, specifically the use of the issues tracker in GitHub and what we found to be the most important section of the project. Similar to the project board, we use the issues tracker to notify, assign, and or filter any and all issues and tasks that need to be addressed within our project as soon as possible. We would make use of specific titling of the issues, such as errors within a section of the project, or simply assigning certain tasks to a single person and or stack group that is in charge of said problem or task at hand. For example, profile edit errors or back-end machine learning dataset collection. As users, we would easily be able to check any open issues and crack down anything that needs to be done, or we can easily filter what needs to be done individually and get those done as well, making the work process as smooth as possible. As for future endeavors though, we definitely could be seeing more use in relations towards bugs and other errors within our code, but currently we use it more as a task manager, kind of like the project board, which is still pretty okay in our opinion. As for implementation of our code, mostly everything was done within Python Flask with the exceptions of HTML with our templates and CSS for the front end. For example, our application.py file. Application.py file handles all the routing as well as all the sessions needed for the login and other sites within our services, as well as the registration for the MongoDB. It also handles the connection towards the MongoDB and it allows us to insert and or edit as needed. However, the most important part of our code is most definitely the NLP model trainer and the Twitter sentiment. Through the Twitter sentiment, we were able to scrape, analyze, and output a result from the Twitter sentiment as planned, but not exactly how we wanted it towards our project. The code ended up being very buggy and actually failed multiple times when it came into contact with our database. And as you can see within our issues, we actually never got across to fixing that. However, we did make a workaround with this by creating a model, NLP model, that was trained through 1.6 million Twitter data to analyze each text for each review overall to give its own version of the review. If we had more time or decided to continue this project in 152, however, We definitely like to see the Twitter analysis implemented into our code a lot more better, as well as have the data set for more accurate reviews based on social media, since social media is usually the best way for self-employed laborers to advertise their work and receive feedback from past customers, which was primarily the goal for this project.
So starting with the tools and libraries, we want to start with the stack. So the database that we decided to use was MongoDB. It's a NoSQL database that we wanted to create a flexible database for our login and for our users and profiles. We also used Flask, and the reason why we used Flask as a Python mini framework is because we knew that we're going to be using machine learning later to train our feature for the machine learning for reviews. And so in the end, we ended up using Python. For our libraries, we use scikit-learn for our machine learning. This was able to train our machine learning model for NLP, and it was also able to give us some accuracy data along with some easily integrated library features. Pickle was used to save our machine learning model. So whenever we start the application, we don't want to train it again and again. It has a 15-minute window for a complete training on the data that we use. We don't want to keep on using that whenever the function is called. For our Twitter API, we didn't get to instantiate this part of the function. It is there. We would provide it a username and it would spit out a good or bad review for any of the usernames put in for the last 20 tweets, 20 mentions that they have on their tweets. And so we also ended up using Bicrypt for salting, hashing, and encrypting our data, specifically for passwords and login. And then for our final tool that we technically use is Kaggle database. The Kaggle database we use is for label data to train our machine learning model because we didn't have the resources necessarily to do that on our own.
So here's our ER diagram. So we have a many-to-many relationship between our projects and our reviews. We have images uploaded to the projects and also the profile itself. The profile is a hub for both the projects and the reviews. It hosts an image as well, like a profile image, while the projects host 2 images that support the project itself. We also have a reviews section which has the review name, the review score, and the review text with the sentiment analysis output. We have our user registration as the hub, so that has our ID, and then data signed when it's been registered to just for the admin. And we also have a name and a password. The password is encrypted with a bcrypt technology from Python, which hashes and salts the password. And we also have an email, a number, yada yada yada. So these are the things that we've managed to create for the user. So we managed to create a add review section. So when you're logged into your profile, you're able to create a review for any other labor or worker. You also are able to edit your profile. You are also able to add projects. We still have yet to implement a delete and a edit project for that instance of the project, and that was going to be a part of our next increment that we haven't gone around to.
All right, so now I'm going to walk you through a few functionalities of word of mouth. After navigating to the landing page, you can go to the login button. And if you don't have an account, you can register. It'll show the registration process. Just enter a username. My first and last name. Your email, password, phone number, and then you're going to want to include what you do. Create account. So this will take us back to our landing page, and now we have the ability to log in with our created username and password. I'll log in. Here it's going to take us to our profile. Here we haven't populated our profile with anything yet. So we're going to go to edit. Here we can change our username, our email, phone number, labor, location, description of our profile. So we're just going to add that we're from Fresno here. Say, I like to paint, our description. Upload a profile picture. Right. And now we notice that we don't have any projects down here. So if we want to add a project, go to add project. Name the project. All right, and then upload some project pictures and then submit them. And now that's added to our profile. All right, so now I'm going to walk you through the process of leaving a review. All right, so now that we're logged in, we can go to search and leave a review. We're going to search for carpentry. Here we have 2 results. We're going to click on Patrick. Check out his reviews. He has 1 good review. Let's say we weren't so happy with Patrick and we said that he did a terrible job because he left his tools everywhere. I'm going to post that review. And our review should be here at the bottom. It'll show our username, our location, the amount of stars we gave it, the review itself, and our NLP analysis that's analyzing the review below.